Well, it had been 2,191 days since Ohio State beat Michigan. They go into the Big House today on a snowy November day, and they win convincingly. We'll discuss it, the whole thing. And now Ohio State will take on Indiana for the Big Ten championship game next week. But we have the game, Ohio State and Michigan, to talk about live, real post-game reaction right here from me, from you, with your live comments. There are other games kicking off right now in the Big Ten. We'll have a complete recap and preview for all of it. You are in the right place. It's all right here. Locked On Big Ten Live starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the number one sports podcast network out there. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. While you are here, hit that free subscribe button. Man, we're at 24,993. If all of you just click, we'll be over 25,000. That was our goal by the end of the season. It's free. And then you will never miss a single episode moving forward. So if you could also share, follow, and like, that'd be great too. And hype our YouTube videos as well. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So Ohio State, Michigan, Indiana yesterday finished the regular season undefeated with their win at Purdue. Oregon kicking off right now against Washington. Huge game there. Playoff implications. We got it all. And then we'll look ahead to that Big Ten championship game after your live comments. But let's do it here. I mean, it was an incredible day. Great atmosphere as always. The Ohio State-Michigan game has been my favorite game since I was a little kid. It's unrivaled as far as rivalries go. And so cold day, right? Before the snow arrived. And you all know the story. Ohio State had lost the last four. Even last year when they won the national championship, lost the last four to Michigan. They wanted to end that today in the Big House. Now, it was clear that Michigan's goal was to strategize by using Jordan Marshall and the running game. Now, Jordan Marshall had been out with a bad shoulder. He injured it in the Northwestern game. Tried to give it a go, and right away, 36 yards. So he was looking good. The next play was a pass to him for 10 yards. It was very clear that he was the game plan today for Michigan, but that shoulder didn't last. And there was a short gain inside about the 10-yard line early on, and he had to come out. And after those two big explosive plays he had earlier, and so when he was out, they had to settle for a field goal early on. Dominic Zavada, the 45-yard field goal. And all of a sudden, Michigan is on top 3-0 in this game. Meanwhile, Ryan Day, they were going with Carnell, Tate, and Jeremiah Smith. And first deep ball, boom, to Tate. They missed on it, but that was going to be the strategy. Of course, to Ryan Day in the pregame says, yeah, we're gonna attack, be aggressive. To me, I thought that was go to Tate and Smith all day. But Julian Sayin's second pass of the game was intercepted, and Jair Hill got it at the Ohio State 39-yard line. And then Jordan Marshall, I misspoke. Jordan Marshall was still in the game. It was the second series that he had gotten hurt. 21-yard run. Then he got hurt in that game and came out and did give it a go late in the second half. He had the 2-yard run inside the 10-yard line. That's when he came out on the second drive. And so the drive stalled, and then Michigan has to settle for its second field goal. Man, if they had gotten a touchdown there and had all that momentum and up by 2 scores, but the Buckeyes defense held them there to a field goal. And so it was just 6-0. And it was a short field goal, 25-0, 6 field goal. And we all knew the snow was coming, right, in the second half. So whoever can get some points and get a lead would be advantageous for them. Now, when Michigan went up 6-0, this is how dominating Ohio State has been throughout the season. They that was their biggest deficit of the season right there, 6-0. I mean, Ohio State usually blows out people. I think the other time they fell behind, 3-0 to Purdue, if I remember correctly, before they blew that game out. So the closest opponent other than Texas in week 1 was 14-7. The closest anybody's gotten to Ohio State was 18 points. They've been blowing people out. But, yeah, down by 6 at this point. So Ohio State gets the ball back. It was a 2nd and 5, and Michigan has to call a timeout there. They didn't have it together defensively, and Ohio State start putting together a couple of runs. Bo Jackson, boy, was he impressive today. 22 yards to the Michigan 39-yard line. There was on the catch and run. And there was an incomplete pass to Jeremiah Smith in the end zone. I thought a really good play by Zeke Berry at that point. A couple times he was one-on-one coverage. Probably not the best move, but they had to bring a guy up to start attacking the run because Ohio State ran the ball. The offensive line was phenomenal in this football game. But there was the goal line situation at the beginning of the game. Again, Michigan is still up over Ohio State 6-0 at this point. C.J. Donaldson gets stuff for a loss of 2. There was the 3rd and goal, and Jay-Shaw Barnum actually head-butted the official and got a personal foul. Ohio State with the first down. I personally can't believe they didn't throw him out of the game. Cooler heads by the officials at that point, I guess, saying, hey, we don't want to be part of the game. We'll let it be decided on the field. We're not going to throw him out. But that was worthy of a throw out. Barnum's very lucky he didn't get thrown out of the game right there. So now it's 1st and goal. C.J. Donaldson gets a yard. Then C.J. Donaldson stuffed. Michigan's defense is looking pretty good up front. In fact, Brandon Holman stuffed it backwards. Then a Michigan player got hurt. Mason Curtis put his leg back. We're now 3rd and goal. Julian Sayin does a quarterback sneak. He's stuffed. I thought he was down, and then after a long delay, all of a sudden they say, touchdown. I still, looking at the replay, I'm not sure that he got in, but when the pile uncleared, they said that he was in and it was a touchdown. And then they reviewed it, and then they decided to reverse it. We were right. He did not get in. And 4th and goal, which I think now is the 6th snap. This is where the false start came in, and now they're not on the goal line. So Ryan Day and the Buckeyes get backed up. They got to send Jay Fielding in there and kick a field goal. So Michigan 6-3, great defensive stand there with multiple snaps and penalties and all that, and they hold them out, the long review. And so it's a 6-3 ball game at this point. I thought Michigan had a lot of momentum at this point, and then the snow started coming down. I always thought whoever had the lead when it started snowing was going to be at a bit of an advantage. But keep in mind at this point of the game, Marshall's out. He's hurt. Bryson Kutzel, the walk-on sophomore, he comes in. There's a holding penalty on Michigan. They go 3 and out. They got a punt on the next drive. Ohio State gets the ball back. They got a 3rd and 7. Julian Sayin shook off the early interception, right? And he threw a bullet to Carnell Tate for 8 yards near midfield. And suddenly I thought they were kickstarting their offense a little bit. Michigan's still up 6-3 now as we go to the 2nd quarter. Ohio State's still with the ball. On the 2nd and 7, they got a 1-yard gain, but then on 3rd and 6, again, just another perfect route, another pass. Julian Sayin to Carnell Tate. Again, Carnell Tate had been hurt. He didn't look hurt today. He was the real deal all day long. Gets the first down at the Michigan 40. And this drive gets down to a 4th and 5 at the Michigan 35-yard line. They decide to go for it, and they go deep. Jeremiah Smith, boom, touchdown. And again, that was one of those situations I was talking about earlier. Why did Wink Martindale have single coverage with Zeke Berry all alone? Jeremiah Smith gets the 35-yard touchdown. By the way, today's his 20th birthday. Still going to be back next year at Ohio State. Just absolutely incredible. But then a weird thing happened. You remember this? So as Jeremiah Smith's running into the end zone right near the pylon, he actually bobbled the ball for a minute as he stepped into the end zone. So they went to review it. I mean, it looked like a clear-cut touchdown to the naked eye, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa, this might be a touchback and Michigan's ball. This was crucial. And they took a long time, but they decided they had control before he stepped out there, crossing by the pylon on the side line of the end zone. So the touchdown stands, and Ohio State is now up 10-6. Big point. Was it going to be an Ohio State touchdown, or was it going to be a touchback to Michigan? Meanwhile, Michigan gets the ball. Now they're down 10-6. Jeremiah Matthews Jr. got the pass interference on Andrew Marsh. First down for Michigan at their own 37. By the way, Andrew Marsh, 0 catches today, 0 yards. Buckeyes just took him out of the game completely. Kutzel starts running the ball 5 yards, 22 yards, gets to the Ohio State 36-yard line. At this point of the game, with 8 minutes to go in the first half, Michigan had over 100 yards rushing. I believe Texas is the only other team that got over 100 on them in a game. And again, right now, I would say things are favoring Michigan, even though they're down 10-6. They're running the ball at will. They do have to settle for a 49-yard field goal from Dominic Zavada again as this drive stalled. And now it's 10-9. So Michigan's in it. It's going to look like a grinder on a cold day. And now this is when the unsportsmanlike conduct penalties start flying back and forth. It just got absolute crazy because it's a big rivalry. Bo Jackson starts warming up for Ohio State. And then Julian Sayin finds Brandon Innes for the touchdown at the end of the half on a 5-minute drive. They went 87 yards on that. So they're up 17-9 going into the half. It looks like Jordan Marshall's out for the game. Now Michigan looks like they're in trouble. At this point, it felt like a lot of trouble. Now the snow's coming down. So that's how we were rolling there at halftime. So I got plenty more I want to get to here in the second half. I want to talk about the Oregon game against Washington. They're live right now. In fact, Oregon's getting ready to kick a field goal from 46 yards out at Washington to go ahead and take a lead. And the kick is up and good. We're going to talk about that because Oregon can't lose this game. So we're going to discuss all this stuff coming as we come forward here live. And I want to get to your live comments as well with everything that's coming up here on our live edition of Locked On Big Ten season finale rivalry weekend. Got the Big Ten championship game next week to talk about between Ohio State and Indiana. All that coming up here as we continue in a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. It's the holidays, Omaha Steaks. They always make the holidays better, whether you get it for yourself, whether it's the perfect gift for somebody. It makes it very simple. Whether you're treating yourself, you can do that too. You can treat yourself. It doesn't have to always be a gift for somebody else. The quality is fantastic. But you jump in right now. Their cyber sale is here. These deals are huge. It's great quality with Omaha Steaks, tender steaks, the rich flavor you expect, all the meals. Whether you're hosting, whether it's a weeknight meal, you're good to go. And did you know, it's more than just steaks, the variety. You get burgers, comfort meals, sides, dishes. It's the perfect gift for absolutely anybody. So save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off statewide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use the promo code COLLEGE, COLLEGE, at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com. Promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details with Omaha Steaks. All right, let's jump back in. We got a big second half to talk about where Ohio State really took control of this ball game after being up 17-9. I thought the Buckeyes offensive line, which sometimes gets criticized, was phenomenal in this game. Remember, Ohio State was getting the ball first in the second half, more snow coming down. But to Michigan's credit, they hold them out to 3 and out and a punt. So, and then Michigan ends up throwing the ball. One of the few successes they had in the air today. They really, Bryce Underwood really couldn't do anything through the air. Hit Donovan McCulley for 26 yards. But that drive stalled, and then Michigan had a punt. And this is the one that they shanked. The 11-yard punt. It was awful, down to the Ohio State 43-yard line. And then Ohio State with the backbreaker, Julian Sayin, Carnell Tate, 50-yard touchdown catch. Now it's 24-9. We're midway through the third quarter. Really feels like the game is over at this point. So much so that Jordan Marshall, who's playing with a partially separated shoulder, decided to come back in and try and give it a go, but it was too little too late. Although Davison Igbinosun had a pass interference to help Michigan out a while. By the way, let's point out him for a minute. He had 16 pass interference last year. He got toasted a lot. He's a year older, a year more experienced. He's only had 3 of such penalties this year, really becoming a very good defensive back. So Michigan's drive stalls on a 4th and 12. They got to punt it. And now Ohio State is nothing but ground and pound as the snow has started to accumulate. It's 24-9 going into the fourth quarter. The Michigan fans are all singing Mr. Brightside, but this looks inevitable at this point. Bo Jackson is over 100 yards rushing. He gets another first down, but the drive stops. So Jaden Fielding comes on for a 23-yard field goal. And now it's 27-9 with 8 minutes to go. And that was it for the scoring. A little bit more punting on both sides. Again, as I mentioned, Andrew Marsh, 0 catches at this point. Igbinosun had an interception now to game over, 2:33 to go. On the day, Bryce Underwood, 8 of 18 for just 63 yards passing and an interception. So Matt Patricia's defense did a great job shutting him down, making things look confusing. I told you what a great start that Michigan got got 100 yards rushing with 8 minutes to go in the half. They finished with 100 yards rushing. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything in the second half. It was absolutely incredible by the defense, by the Buckeyes. Julian Sayin, 3 touchdowns and an interception on the day. He overcame that early interception. Bo Jackson, 117 on the ground. Carnell, Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and Brandon Ennis all had touchdown catches. And then after the game, there was, I thought, pretty decent handshake between Sharon Moore and Ryan Day. They don't exactly love each other. And then right at the end of the handshake, Moore had to get one of his players' attention because he looks like he was getting a little testy with a Buckeye. He didn't want any post-game brouhahas like last year where they had to get out the pepper spray and Michigan plant the flag on the Ohio State. Oh, by the way, did you notice that as the Buckeye players were all celebrating with their fans over there in the front row behind the bench, the Michigan players didn't leave the game. They didn't leave the field. They all stood there and guarded the M. There's some tensions there. Yeah. But big day for Ohio State. They're undefeated at 12-0, 9-0 in the Big Ten, just like Indiana. We'll talk about their win over Purdue in just a moment. We'll get to your live comments as well on this one as well. Also want to remind you, if you're just jumping in live, hit that free subscribe button down below. We're like 7 away from 25,000 subscriptions. Always free. Just make sure you don't miss a single episode because we're here every single day. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that would be a big help as well. There are some other things I do want to talk about here before we get to your live comments. Feel free to chime in with them. We'll get to them. Big game, obviously, for Oregon at Washington going on right now. It's 3-0 Oregon. And the question is, can Oregon afford a loss and still make the college football playoffs? I mean, as of today, they're in. But can they lose? I know they would prefer to win, take care of business. They know now that they don't have a chance of getting into the Big Ten championship game because that's going to be Indiana versus Ohio State. But they got to win this game to secure their playoff spot. Some think they can lose a close game here at Washington and still get a playoff spot. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I feel like it might bump them out. I can't imagine, though, the Big Ten only getting 2 teams in the college football playoffs. So maybe Oregon would survive, but they would just prefer to win the game overall at this point. Dante Moore has been super dialed in. They've been overcoming injuries at Oregon, banged up wide receiver room, but the next man up mentality has always been helping. They have the deepest running back room, I think, in the country, although Indiana and Ohio State would argue as well. Washington's very balanced with Damon Williams Jr. at quarterback, and they have had to overcome some injuries as well. His 2 biggest weapons, Denzel Boston with the ankle and Jonah Coleman with a knee, but they're back, and they should be a pretty good force here going against the Ducks in this big game for the season finale. Also, just underway, Wisconsin is at Minnesota for the Paul Bunyan Axe. This is the longest running major rivalry in college football, going back to 1892. And Minnesota won that first game back in the day in 1892, by the way, 34-2, and they have won 3 of the last 4. But Luke Fickell's Badgers are playing pretty well right now, actually, after a really tough season and a 6-game skid and the toughest schedule in the Big Ten. They beat a couple of ranked teams in Illinois and Washington along the way, so go figure with that. Meanwhile, Minnesota's coming off a loss at Wrigley Field against Northwestern, in which they missed a 40-yard field goal at the Horn. The Gophers started out in 5-2, but they have suffered a few blowout losses to Iowa and Oregon as well. Penn State at Rutgers just underway. Last time I checked, right when we were coming on the airwaves here, Rutgers had taken a 7-0 lead. In fact, they're up 7-0 right now. over Penn State in that game. By the way, who's going bowling here? Well, the winner of this game is bowl eligible, Penn State at Rutgers. So we'll be interested to see what kind of outcome this game has. And look, Penn State has shown some life against in losses, but to taking on number 1 Ohio State and number 2 Indiana, they've started to look good. And they won at Michigan State, and then they just bullied Nebraska. I think Penn State's playing pretty good right now. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Maryland is at Michigan State tonight at Ford Field in Detroit, not East Lansing. This one's in Detroit tonight. That's on FS1, 7 o'clock Eastern. Is this Jonathan Smith's last game as the head coach of Michigan? It's a tough situation for him. Mike Loxley, after starting out 4-0, hasn't won a game since. With Maryland, they've dropped 7 straight. So we'll see. One thing to watch, a couple things to watch, actually. I think Malik Washington Jr., the quarterback for Maryland, is worth watching. I think this kid's pretty good. And I think he's an exciting player. Michigan State's offensive line has been horrible this year. We'll see if they're able to protect and get any plays going. And then, by the way, Maryland's secondary, their defense, has 18 interceptions this year and 28 pass breakups. They are really good back there. UCLA, they are at USC for their season finale, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. That game is on NBC tonight. It's been a pretty long season for UCLA. They lost the first 4. They fired Deshaun Foster. They won 3 in a row. And they lost 4 in a row again. So, look, this is their bowl game. To come in and to beat their arch rival across town at USC in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, how's USC going to react tonight? They're coming off a make-or-break loss to Oregon, right? It will win that game, and they probably go into the playoffs. If they lost it, so are they down? Are they, they're going to get up for this game? They should, because it's UCLA. But it is a classic letdown spot for them. So I think that is something worth keeping an eye on as well. Whoever controls the running game on this game, I think, is going to end up winning this football game. And then the Land of Lincoln Trophy up for grabs tonight at 7:30 on Fox, 7:30 Eastern, Northwestern at Illinois. Look, Northwestern is the little train that could. This is a tough and underrated football team, and they're going bowling for the second time in 3 years under David Braun. 2 weeks ago, they lost the heartbreaker to Michigan at the Horn with a field goal, and then they had a late field goal to beat Minnesota, as we just talked about, and the Minnesota match missed the tying field goal at the end. But that game featured 73 points and 800 yards of offense. So is Northwestern going to be bringing some offense in this game against Illinois today? I know Illinois can move the ball, so that's going to be interesting. Running back to watch, if you haven't paid much attention to Northwestern football, at least not as much as we have, Caleb Kumalapi, really good running back for Northwestern. And I think Northwestern quarterback Preston Stone is the most improved player in the Big Ten this year from the beginning of season to now. We know that Illinois can throw the ball. They got Luke Altmaier. They got to show a little more energy than they did against Wisconsin. So that's it. As far as the Michigan-Ohio State game today, the 2 Friday night games, Indiana undefeated, and a preview for everything that's coming up that's either underway right now. Oregon's still up 3-0 with 9:50 to go in the first quarter at Washington. So let's get to your comments. You hear what's on my mind. I want to catch what you guys are thinking about right now. And David checking in and saying that Michigan had wide receivers open all day, but Underwood checked down too soon. They just did not look sharp with a passing game at all, whether guys were open or not. And, it seemed like they were just checking down a lot later on, even though you thought he didn't do it enough. David also checking in, go Ducks. He says, on to a real game, quack, quack. Always count on the Ducks fans to be out here. Moopert is saying, my wife and I are crying tears of joy beating the team up north. There you go. Congratulations. Steve says, was there any doubt? Also, here's another one. We finally beat Michigan. It had been, what 2,191 days. Donnie, great job. Craig, Ohio State looks really tough. Indiana should be worried in the Big Ten championship game. I don't know if they should be worried. Look, Ohio State did everything right today. But all season long, Indiana's done everything right. And we'll talk about their game as well, since we were talking about some of the other ones in the Big Ten. Don't forget the Friday night games. We had Indiana beat Purdue 56-3. total aggregate score of 122-3 over the last 2 years over their arch rival. They've done absolutely everything. They've done everything right. And I have said, because we do our power rankings on Wednesday, and some people like to disagree with how about a month ago, I actually flipped Indiana ahead of Ohio State in our power rankings, because I actually think top to bottom, I think Indiana matches the strength of Ohio State, and in some cases, they're better. And look, I'll just give you an example. Look, Carnell Tate was fabulous today. With Tate, Jeremiah Smith is regarded as the best wide receiver in the country. But I think when you compare him to Omar Cooper and Elijah Sarratt, I think Indiana, with the 1-2 receiver punch, is just as good. I really do. I believe it. There are going to be some people that criticize it. I think there's a lot of, when you go roster by roster, position by position, Indiana can match up with Ohio State in a lot of areas, and in some areas are better. One other game we should mention, of course, is Iowa. They beat Nebraska 40-16, pulled away from that game. I think it's every year since 2019 or 18, since, with the exception of the COVID year, Kirk Ferentz has had 8 or more wins every single year. Meanwhile, another swoon for Nebraska as they're losing games down the stretch here. Remember, they don't have Dylan Raiola anymore. TJ Lateef, their freshman quarterback, is going to have to take them into their bowl game. We'll find out bowl game matchups on December 7th, by the way. But congratulations to Kirk Ferentz and Kirk Cignetti, 2 Big Ten coaches that got wins on Friday night. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? It's something from, let's see. Matt checking in. Indiana will hit the wide open receivers that Bryce checked down on. Yeah, maybe that could be part of the strategy as well. Here's another one. Ken disappointed in missing some deep guys open. Yeah, that's the part. I mean, we all saw the curve of improvement for Bryce Underwood this year. Was it what we expected or what Michigan fans wanted? It seemed like it slowed down a little bit. He's got some stuff to figure out with the passing game. The talent's there, but anyway. Let's see here. Dale says, Craig, I got a heaping helping of crow for you for dinner. Hey, I'm already full from Thanksgiving dinners, but thank you very much. He's probably referring to our pigskin picks. I thought the game would be close. I thought Michigan might do it. I really thought they were in Ohio State's head. I'll admit that. I'll admit it. But hey, that's what we do the picks for. They're fun. Let's see here. And more anti-Michigan stuff from Ohio State. More of those kind of comments along the way. All right, we are live, and we're going to take our first preview look to the Big Ten championship game with Ohio State and Indiana. That's coming up in just a minute, so we will take care of all that as we are live here on a Saturday night going into a Sunday with Big Ten reaction. All that coming up here. We'll do it in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. So the NBA is back in full swing. No better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game, you could jump in with live in-game betting with player props, or maybe catch that wave in the fourth quarter. It happens all the time in the NBA, right? Jump on it, combine it with your prior bets going into the game for a parlay, same game parlay. All this stuff keeps the game more exciting. I always tell you, take the overs on Miami Heat games. That's kind of my thing this year. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go ahead to FanDuel.com and sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. That is at FanDuel.com. Check it out today. All right, let's take a look now. Our first look ahead at the Big Ten championship game, where Indiana, fresh off of their win over Purdue last night, they are undefeated at 12-0, 9-0 in the Big Ten, and Ohio State, fresh off of their win over Michigan, just as we speak. So they're also 12-0. Both schools 12-0. I might have said 11-0. 12-0, 9-0 in the Big Ten. And going head-to-head, and it's number 1 versus number 2 in the country for the Big Ten championship game. It will probably decide the Heisman Trophy between Julian Sayin and Fernando Mendoza. Everything is on the line. Now, rest assured, Indiana fans and Ohio State fans, win or lose that game, your teams are going to the playoffs. So you won't fall far enough, win or lose in this game. So what's really at stake is a Big Ten championship game, and a lot of excitement. That'll be at 8:00 Eastern from Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium, and of course, we will go live after that one. We always pick a big game to go live. That's the game to go live next week, Saturday night. So it's gonna be late, by the way. Probably about 11:30-ish Eastern, 8:30 Pacific, but we'll be there for my real live post-game comments and your real live, real-time comments as well. That's why we do these things and have a lot of fun on Saturday. So we have that to look forward to. And in fact, other things to pay attention to regarding the calendar. We got signing week this week coming up for all the freshmen, or the soon-to-be freshmen, the high school seniors coming in, getting ready to sign with their teams. And then on Sunday, the day after the Big Ten championship game, we'll have the final college football poll will be released. It's not Tuesday that week, so we'll get that. There'll be one this Tuesday. And then the final one will be on a week from Sunday on December 7th. And then we'll know exactly who's going to the playoffs, where they are, who they're playing, and we'll be all over that as well. And then don't forget, the following weekend is Saturday, December 13th. That'll be the Heisman Trophy presentation where Fernando Mendoza and Julian Sayin are right in the mix. And then the college football playoffs begin on December 19th and the 20th. And we'll be there to follow all the Big Ten teams along the way with you. Always appreciate you guys. We're here every day. I know we're live today, but we're here every day, multiple podcasts, all 18 Big Ten teams. And if you're already checking us out right now, I already know that you are a Big Ten fan. I also know you know other Big Ten fans. It's just the way it is. Whether it was your old roommate, friends, family, let them know that we're out here every day. Just share, follow, like. In fact, if you could hit that little share arrow and send this podcast their way, that would be appreciated. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it's free if you're new. That way you'll never miss a single episode that we do every day. And right when we took the airwaves here, we were at 24,993. We needed 7. I'll check it when I get off the air. Hopefully one of you put us over the top for 25,000. That was our goal. Our goal was 20,000 to start the season. We hit that in early August. Our goal was 25,000 free subscribers by Rivalry weekend, and we're here and we're that close. So maybe you could be the one that puts us over the top right there. If you are, send me a message. I'll thank you. So I appreciate that as always. And enjoy the rest of your Rivalry weekend. Oregon still up on Washington 3-0 with 5:34 to go in the first quarter of a very important game. I got a feeling that game is coming down to the wire. I'm going to go watch it. You too as well. And then we'll be back on Monday with a complete recap of the entire weekend. Thanks for checking us out here today. We had a great season thanks to you guys, but we're going to continue right on to the postseason and then basketball and everything, spring football, recruiting, transfer portal. We're here every single day covering it all on Locked On Big Ten. So for Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Shemon. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Thanks for checking us out.